Hello friends, this is Rita Devanji and here today we are going to learn about the cascading style sheets. I think you're already aware about the HTML programs what we are writing for the designing of a web page, and right now current days we are using the XHTML. But for the when we are talking about the formatting of a page, so we are using the cascading style sheets. This is a more familiar word with the web programmers and web designers. Today here we are going to learn about what is CSS, why we are saying this cascading, and who maintains the standard of CSS, how cascading style sheets works, advantages of using CSS, and writing a simple CSS code. So what is cascading style sheet, or you can say the CSS? Cascading style sheet is a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language, although most often used to set the visual style of web pages and user interfaces written in HTML and XHTML. I think you know about the HTML, hypertext markup language, and extensible hypertext markup language, which is used for the web designing. The CSS is designed primarily to enable the separation of a document content from a document presentation, including aspects such as the layout, colors, and fonts. This separation can improve the content accessibility, provide more flexibility and control in the specification of presentation characteristics, enable the multiple HTML pages to share formatting by specifying the relevant CSS in a separate .css file, and reduces the complexity and repetition in the structural content. Why we are saying this style sheet as a cascading? The CSS specification describes a priority scheme to determine which style sheet rules apply if more than one rule matches against a particular element in this so-called cascade. That prioritize or weights are calculated and assigned to the rules so that the results are predictable. You can compare this with the example of a constructor what we are using in the object oriented. If there are so many constructors, you can say this is like copy constructors. If the parameters what we are passing at the time of execution which decides which constructor is actually going to execute, in the same way when you can write more than one CSS layouts or coding for a same tag of a HTML element, and based on the priority or a weight of a CSS code, the code is going to execute for the web page. Now, who maintains the standard of CSS? The CSS specifications are maintained by the World Wide Web Consortium, that you are also saying the W3C. The Internet Media Type text CSS is registered for the use with the CSS by RFC 2318 by March 1998. The W3 operates two free CSS validation services for CSS documents. Now, how cascading style sheet works or how it is helping us. For example, that you are creating a style for your headlines by redefining the H1 tag to create a large blue bold headlines. Then one fine day you decide that your all headlines should be red instead of blue. So if you're not using the CSS, what you need to do, you need to change all the headlines you have mentioned in your codings, and doing this is a really going to be a huge task for you. Now what you have to do, you have to open each and every page and you have to make the changes to the font text around your headlines. Now if you're using the cascading style sheet, it will like if you can use the external style sheet, you can simply change the style that contains the formatting information for a H1 tag in the style sheet and change your headlines all turn red automatically. Now how a cascading style sheet works, like a website designed with the CSS separates content from the design, keeping the content of a site like text and headings separate from the instruction that tell a browser how the content should look, benefits both you as a designer and your site visitors. Now advantages of using CSS. The point one is CSS simplifies the design changes. CSS styles can be saved in the header section at the very top of the HTML or XHTML pages, or they can be saved in a separate file that can be attached to a multiple XHTML pages or HTML pages. Either way, if you use a style to format many headlines, then you can make formatting changes by simply editing the styles. Now here we have mentioned that we are using this on the HTML page in both the types, but don't confuse with this, because we can use nowadays XHTML normally for a common trends for web designing. The use of XHTML is a better way to design the pages, so we refer the word here. It is can be read as an XHTML or HTML. Separating the contents from designing enables you to create different style sheets for a different audience and devices. How it is? Today's websites are as likely to be viewed in a giant wall-sized screens as they are to be seen on a screen small enough to hide in the palm of your hand during a lunch date. Now, CSS enables you to create a web page design that are more adaptable, so that they look good on a big and a small screens, as well everything in between. Like you're seeing the same page in a good LED TV, and you're seeing the same application or the website in your mobile phones while you're doing the booking for your hotels, booking for your trains. The same application in run in both the places. So you're seeing a TV serial in a big LED screens, big LCD screens, and you're seeing the same in your simple mobile phones, smartphones. So the application should be adaptable enough according to the screen. So CS is helping us to design the applications which are more adaptable with the screens. Now, as you get more advanced with the CSS, you can even create multiple style sheets for the same web page. For example, you can create one that's ideally suited to big computer monitor, another which is designed for the best results when page is printed, and yet another design with a larger font size for anyone who may have trouble reading the small print that is so common on web pages. Using CSS makes your site comply with the current standards. Today, the W3C, which sets the standards for the internet, recommends using CSS for nearly every aspect of a web design because the best CSS designs are accessible, flexible, and adaptable. Now, how we can write the CSS code here? We will go through two parts here, CSS code syntax, and part 2 is sample code. The CSS code 1 syntax you can go through here. A CSS rule set consists of a selector, okay, and another one is a declaration block. The selector points to the HTML element you want to style, and the declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolon. Now, each declaration includes a CSS property name and a value separated by a colon. A CSS declaration always ends with a semicolon, and declaration blocks are surrounded by the curly braces. Now here you can see a sample code. For example, suppose you're given a write a code to set the color property of a text to red and alignment property center of a paragraph check. So the simple code of CSS is P color red text align center. That is, the P is your selector, and this is we have written here the declaration part. This is property and this is the value. You can see the another example here. If you're writing changing the background color of a H1 tag, the CSS code will be like look like this. Even we can write a same code for 2-3 HTML or more than that tags which are having the similar properties in this way. So this is all about from CSS introduction and writing the code of CSS, and you can go through some references or the practices available on the website. These are a few references you can use here. Anything questions you want to raise here, you can come back to me. Thank you.